welcome everyone. My name is Amir Khan. I'm your coach on these weekly newbie calls on Thursday evenings. Um, just to let you know the format, some weeks I have a guest and we talk to the guest. Most of the guests are from our community. Some weeks I choose a topic and I talk about the topic related to fundamentals about newbies for helping newbies in slow flip business. And today we're going to do something which I'm planning on doing every month, once a month. And we did this one time, and I got very good feedback. So essentially, what we are going to do is I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do in a moment. I do want everybody who's here, if you don't feel comfortable, then that's fine. But I'm just letting you know today, if you want to take full benefit of today's session, you have to have your camera on because we are going to do interactive activity, and it's only beneficial if people know who they're talking to, and you will benefit from it. Trust me. All right. So having said that, let me share my screen so you know exactly what we're going to be doing, what the expectation is. A couple of things I like to cover before we start. Um, I did cover this last week as well, but I want to make sure that because I find out that a lot of this it's just weird. Some of this information a lot of people still don't know. It's because in school when you have a posting, other than the pinned posting that school allows you to do, apparently because the way the software works, you can only pin 3 items. And so some of the things that are important announcements, they cannot be pinned. So if they go in a regular posting, they get, go down the listing and then you can't find them. So this is for your reference. Those of you who are new, and these coaching calls are recorded, and the recording is available on this link. Um, so you can go there anytime. There is also a new program that I started. It's called a newbie learning pod, and the details are here in this link. So I'm not going to go into too much details again. But if you want to learn what that program is all about, you can go to this link. Essentially, what it is, it's for a benefit of people, newbies who are in the program. And if you're stuck, you haven't been able to buy your first slow flip, as long as you have funds for your first slow flip, this is accountability group that you can join. Is free of cost. There's also a free private money lending course that I've done. You can get it over here. Next is the top 6 coaching calls that I've done where I've gotten really good feedback. And if you're new, and you will benefit from these. One of them is about the entire slow flip process sequentially. So if you are getting information overload and you're not sure what to do first, what to do second, then that's a great video. I did a video about running sold comps. So if you're a little bit new to real estate, that's going to help you. Then I did one on running rental comps. Also, I did top 10 closing checklist. That is beneficial for anyone, even if you're experienced. Then I talk about property valuation in terms of slow flip model. So that a lot of people have said that's really been helpful. And then finally, tenant buyer management communication. Some people get kind of stuck with how they deal with their tenant buyers, and they're having this looping thing going on. They're late on their payment, they're texting them, and they're just stuck, right? So I share with everyone how I do my tenant buyer management in terms of communication. So that's that. By the way, this program, that's why I'm putting this up. I'm shocked that so many people in our community, some of the people I found out recently, they've been in the program for so long, they didn't even know about this program. So this is another program that I've been proud of as being part of it. I trained 9 private money lenders in our community. So these are all people who are in the community and are buying themselves slow flips. They wanted to become private money lenders, but they lack the training and the skills. So I actually did a certification course for them. For it's an 8-week course. They finished their course, and now each one of them is posting funding. So basically we have private money lenders in our own community who are funding slow flips. There are requirements. So if you, let's say, haven't bought your first slow flip, you do need some track record. So everybody has their own requirements. So the details are there. The best way to get more information about this is simply search in school SF funding available. That's the title of anytime there's going to be a funding available, that would be the title. All right. So that's that. Today, what we're going to do is called the monthly mixer. The purpose is that it's a great way for newbies and non-newbie members, and I see several of non-newbies are on the call, which is great. So it's great to get together and share their experience live. So the format is that all attendees are going to be in a moment automatically be will assign to a breakout room. The number of people in each room will depend on how many people we have in today's call. So a couple of things you have to do. Number one, keep your cameras on, please, because that is the whole purpose of this activity. You have to have your camera on when you're talking to someone. They would like to know who they're talking to. As soon as you get into your room, on the top left-hand corner, you'll see the room number. Everybody needs to know what room they're in. Last time when I did this, nobody paid attention to it, and then I was calling, hey, room number 2 or 3, and nobody knew. So I will also jump from room to room to remind you, but pay attention to that room number on top left-hand corner. Anybody in your room can volunteer to be the spokesperson. So we do need a spokesperson for the group. Do introduce yourself within the group briefly and then mention whether you're a newbie or a non-newbie. If you've been around, it's going to help people. You can drive the conversation and advice. All right. Next is share your biggest challenge in the program at this up to this point, and offer suggestions if you have answers and advice based on your experience. If no one knows the answers, to any of the questions, then what you can do is have the spokesperson note it down, and then when everybody comes back to the main room, I can answer those questions. Give me one moment. People are still joining. All right. And that's basically it. The breakout rooms are going to be for 20 minutes. You will have about 5-minute warning before the session ends. You will then return to the main room where we are right now. And then I will call on each one of the room numbers and their spokesperson to share their discussion and answer questions. Um, like I said, if you feel this is uncomfortable for you, I understand. You can jump off the call. But if you're on the call, please have your cameras on. All right. Okay. And I do have a quick question from someone. Renee, you have a quick question before we go on?
Yes. How, what defines a newbie?
That's a good question, but I never even thought of that. Major, I'll let you take that one.
You're not a newbie, that's for sure. But you could probably lead one of the groups. So
Yeah.
somebody who's maybe got one property, but anybody trying to get their first
Yeah.
is great because even people that get their first or second, they still have struggles. So it's great to bring the challenges.
Does that answer your question? So you're not a newbie, Renee.
Technically, I'm a newbie then.
Okay. Well, okay. So have you bought some slow flips yet?
I have one. I haven't filled it yet.
Okay.
And I'm closing on 4 more.
Wow. Awesome. So you see, you already are ahead of someone who hasn't bought the first, and they may have all these questions about, well, where do I find them and all that. You can answer those questions. Maybe
Okay.
you'll have somebody in the room who may be a little bit ahead of you. That's great. That's okay. So I'll let you decide. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So having said that, I'm going to keep this last slide open for everybody in the room. So if you forget what we were talking about, this is what's going to be the reference point. Also letting you know if somebody is joining late, obviously they haven't heard me talk about what the process is and all that. I've told them before that when they log in, they can read this so they can. So in other words, what I'm saying is, let's say you go move to a room, right? There are 5 people in that room or something. And then after a few minutes, you have somebody join in. Um, Technically what they should do is just quietly observe what's going on. But somebody in the room, whoever is the spokesperson, should just kind of give them a very quick rundown. Hey, this is how you're going to be managing the classroom. All right. Pretty straightforward. It's going to be fun. We mess up, no big deal. This is just us in our group. There are not that many people on the call, about 30 people. So I'm going to have maybe uh, I'll do like 7 groups, 7 class. So there'll be like 4 or 5 people in each one. All right. So having said that, we'll have about 20 minutes. All right. And please make sure that you Remember what your room number is and make sure somebody is the spokesperson. All right, here we go. Assign automatically 7. I got that. And then we got 20 minutes. All right, and you'll also have a countdown. Here we go. All right, now everybody's back. I hope you guys enjoyed. I joined the room so I could see that, it takes a couple of sessions before, I would know exactly how we're going to run it, what would be the perfect time. 20 minutes I think, is a reasonable amount of time, and then we are going to go through each one of the groups. All right. So I know room 4, I ended up closing because there weren't enough people. I think, Major, maybe you can remind me next time not to open more than 5 rooms, because I think I opened 7 rooms and they were like, many people had their own note takers, and the note takers are taking spots. And so that's another thing I might do next week, is not approve note takers, right? Because they take up spots, and when the software automatically assigns people, it counts them as a person, and that's not fair, right? Some groups get 20 people, or some groups not have enough. Okay, anyway, so let's start with classroom 1, or A, or no, 1. Classroom 1, who was in it and who's the spokesperson, and tell us what you talked about.
Hi, I'm Carmen, and I've been nominated as the spokesperson for Room One. Um, I had Major in there, and he was helping us through everything, and then Cindy and Rachel. And what would you like me to
So Major obviously is in the admin part, right? And so other than you, who else was there?
Rachel and Cindy?
Okay, are you all newbies? Do you consider yourself newbies?
I would say so. I think it's been within the last 6 months to a year. I'm probably the newest to the program, starting in April, and so I do have one under contract. So
Good.
yeah, so there's so I might be the newest in the program, but Cindy and Rachel are still working on theirs.
Got it. Got it. Anything specific they brought up that is challenging for them at this point?
Um, yes. We all kind of are challenged with time and time management, because we have other things going on, obviously, in our lives, and then there's also been some past real estate trauma that can be holding some of us back, and then also uh, that Rachel had some enough experience to get that
Mm-hmm.
private lender.
Mm-hmm.
So she's working on maybe some self funding for the first couple of flips and slow flips, and then after she's established that track record, then maybe be able to take on some private lenders, and
So
then.
see, that's a very good topic, and that was the purpose of doing it, because sometimes I can't come up with a topic to talk about that is relevant for newbies, and that's a very relevant topic. If
Mhm.
you're a newbie and you're stuck, well, should I get a private money lender and then buy a property? Well, it could be quite a long time before that happens, and you might lose interest or you might just give up, right? So the best thing is, if you know and you understand that this is something you want to do, whether you have enough real estate experience or not, the decision has to be made. And then you just have to find a way, right? I won't name who, but there's somebody in a call here. I'll say she, and she was in the kind of the same situation. And I point blank at some point told her, because you have to go out and find a way. And she did find a way. And she told me that she now has the money. So guess what? Now she's over one of the hurdle, right? Now she's looking for a property. Do you see that? But if you don't do that, the private money lender thing can just stop you right there on the track. You can't do anything. And I mentioned we do even have private money lenders in our community now. But even then, think about it. Nobody's going to, give you funds if you have no track record. You don't have, that's not going to happen. Just because you're a newbie, it's not going to work like that. So the first one is really important. So that's a good topic that we now are talking about is, yeah, what should we do? And my opinion is the same. If you have the means, if you have some retirement account funds sitting somewhere, you have some saving funds, because think about it. I mean, I'll share some numbers with you so you have an idea. If you do it right, let's say your first a slow flip, you buy it yourself, and I'll share my numbers with you. My first slow flip, I bought it cash for exactly 30 grand. Now I just got lucky maybe or whatever it was. My first slow flip was really, really good. Just a very large home, 5 bedroom, 3 bath, 3,000 square feet, all brick house, right? But there was something wrong, structural problem with it. But either way, it's been like a year and a half, 2 years now almost. I'm getting 1,095 for it, right? And so what is 1,095 uh, in terms of return of investment on 30 grand,
Wow.
right? So think about it. If your money is sitting in your account somewhere and you have cash, well, it's definitely not earning that much money anyway, right? Even if you're going to have a tenant buyer paying you 800, $900, your still returns are going to be substantial. So
Right.
you're actually doing something good for yourself anyway,
Mhm.
either, right? So I think that's a very good subject matter that you guys discuss, and it's very relevant for newbies that the decision has to be made. You decide first. Well, am I going to do this? If I'm going to do this, then you just have to find a way, whatever it is, retirement account, savings account, borrowing from relatives, borrowing from your family, because if you believe in it and you're going to do it, you can make it work.
Yeah.
So,
But that's
yes,
what I
go
decided.
ahead.
I decided on my first one that I'm self-funding. So I have proof of concept and
Yeah.
I can show the process. I can be like, this is what I just did, you know, but I'm going to run out of funds soon. So
Right. So, but
I,
see, that's the thing. The
yeah,
problem is if you're thinking not doing the first one, thinking, well, I'm going to run out of the funds. Well, that's true. But the thing is, do the first one. As you do, you get better. Then it's like you're on this train track at night, and your lights on the train is, 100 yards, but you can't, see the entire track, right? So you got to do what you got to do with the information you have, with whatever you have right now. So just do the first one and it'll just get easy. So, well, thank you, Carmen. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
thank you.
Um, yeah, and then can we have classroom two or room two? Who was in room two and who was the spokesperson, please? I know there was a room two.
Was that the room you put me in, Amir? I don't even remember
No,
where
I
you moved
think
me.
you were.
I was in, yeah, I was in room two.
Okay.
We had four newbies and one. Dennis Parker was kind of our seasoned expert, if you will. He's been in the group a little while. He owns several properties. Personally, my frustrations or my hurdles were just basically I'm scared of bad tenants and evictions and the time it takes to deal with all that, especially when I'm currently working a full-time job and trying to also work another uh, investing business too. But that's our story. Was that what else were we looking for, Amir?
Yeah, so other people in the group, what was so yeah, thank you for sharing your challenges. Did you hear, what challenges did you hear from the other people in your class?
Just how to get started. The last gentleman was discussing with Dennis about how to get started. In terms of watching the videos and how much to learn and maybe don't the advice there was probably don't get too overburdened by the videos, and perhaps the best learning is just doing. In fact, Dennis told me the best thing to do is just to pull the trigger, and I agree with him. And I know I know that's the truth. It's not like it's a
Hmm.
revelation to me, but just have to get into it.
Got it.
But I am concerned that it will take my focus away from my day job, which I'm probably running on thin ice on to begin with,
Oh, okay.
and as well as my other land investing business. So I'm definitely torn.
Got
But I think my long-term plan is that when I get laid off, which is I'm probably think it's going to happen, um, it's probably going to make a run at both the land and the slow flip business at the same time. Try to see if I can really get off the ground with with both investing strategies and maybe just be able to support my own.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it. Um, from room 3, do we have anybody from room 3?
Yeah, this is Karine. So we had Bolu, Stephen, and Ruben also in the group. So we're pretty much all newbies, but Ruben didn't really speak until the very end. So I think what he said was he was closing on his first one, maybe. But for the three of us, we haven't purchased anything yet. I know I did share my experience of wanting to save and buy it first with my own money before I move on to trying to get private lenders to fund more of the properties. Like I think it was Carmen, how she said she wants a proof of concept is the same that I'm looking to do as well, so that when I do start asking others or private money lenders that this is what I've done so far. The nice thing about our group is we're investors, we're all real estate investors, so we do have properties currently, just not through the slow flip process.
Oh, that's interesting. So tell me about yourself. Um,
So I have a couple of rentals. I was sharing with the group how I kind of fell into the real estate world because I had this property that I lived in for quite some time. And then opportunity knocked where I ended up moving out of there and moving into a house or a townhouse. So the tenants that I have in my first place, they've been in there since I moved out, and that's been over 7 years. So I haven't really turned anybody over in that property. The second one that I have, I purchased, but then I got a job offer here in California. So within 6 months of me moving into this new place, I ended up landing this job, moved, and then literally uprooted myself and moved out to California. And then I purchased a property out here in California. So the second property I have, I rented out as well, and I had my first turnover, and that's what brought me into
got
I
it.
don't know if I want to be a landlord or at least deal with the landlord headaches and everything because the first tenants that I had, they lived in there for a good 5 years. And then I turned it over last year and it's been like a whirlwind, such night and day.
Yeah, yeah.
But one of the way that I found out about this slow flip is because I also went into the insurance world. And through the insurance world, my agent that I've been dealing with also has a podcast, and that's where I heard Scott Jelinek and his story and his process of slow flips. And that's where I said, oh, this is more my speed. So we did, as a group, at least we talked about how Scott encourages doing it on a slower path versus buying so much and, having trouble filling in the properties that you purchased. So I also agree with that. I want to start slow and just understand what it is that I'm doing. Steven in our group, he's brand new, so he's just learning. Whereas Bolu and we've been on listening to these meetings a little bit longer. But we also are kind of slow at this and trying to make sure that we understand the whole process. But
Great.
Ruben seems like he's moving along. He didn't really had too much
Well,
time.
the way you are explaining, with your portfolio, I don't think you have any problem with accessing funds. You probably have equity, way more equity in your property. You can probably get some kind of line of credit or something just on your portfolio. So I don't think that is a problem. You are lucky that some of your earlier properties where you never heard from your tenants, they pay on time. That's perfect, right? But it just takes one turnover to just destroy that whole track record of new person coming in and they're completely different from the other one. And I've been in real estate for more than 20 years, and I've had really really bad experiences. So when I found this, I knew that this is it. So, but what good to know. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Any questions on your side or from your team?
I don't know if we had questions. It's just we need to get started.
Yeah.
As far as funding, I mean, again, I wanted to use my own money, and could I get a home equity line of credit on one of my properties? I could, but my goal is to really have that chunk of money already. And I don't know if anybody's aware of this, and this is another thing that I share with the group is through that insurance policy, or at least through my insurance agent and listening to or finding out about Scott, I'm into the infinite banking big time. So
Right.
that's how I want to leverage my policies to be able to purchase more properties.
Got
And so
it.
we already talked to my agent. We talked about what my plan of action is, and that's really what I want to do and get that compounding interest and
Yeah,
bet.
working for you, huh? Okay.
For sure.
All right. Thanks very much for sharing. I appreciate it. So room 4, I had to close. So room 5, who was in room 5 and if somebody wants to share?
I will. This is Harlan.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So in there we had the other active participants. We had Jen and Chantel, and you paired us up well. We all end up being from the same state, Illinois.
Okay.
And all newbies. So it was really interesting. We all started primarily about the same time. Um, all doing, I think, the same thing, trying to, make sure we get a good handle on the knowledge building that's coming across, because it's a lot of information and you want to make sure you're getting the right piece of it and embracing it. We talked about speed to deals, how it can be a hurdle because it seems like things move fast and people are buying properties. You want to try to understand everything that's needed so that you can get in on the action, so to speak. But it takes time. We talked about financing and the development of it and what it takes to get it. And hopefully we can learn more and do that. The goal was our different goals were like generational wealth, stop working, get out of full-time positions, because simply can't count on retirement, things along that line. And we also talked about how we kind of went over how it's important to develop a network and to have a strong network of investors and that's kind of the reason I think we're all in the community to grow and develop and then utilize the people that are around us. So I think that's our goal.
Great. Harlan, did you guys have any specific challenges that you spoke about?
It's I think it's just, trying to make sure the financing is going to come and just making sure. I think it's you want to have a good footing, I think, on the information because if you're not making the right moves because you miss something, it
Mhm.
could make you slip and fall, so to speak, and not get you there. But I think it always, kind of falls back to funding and making sure we have a good way to get it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you so much for sharing, Harlan. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
no problem.
Room 6, please. Who was in room 6?
I was in room 6 and Mike was
Kimberly, how
there.
are you?
Hey, Amir. So we had Mike, we had Dave, and we had Nicole. We had a
Okay.
great bunch. And so we had, I guess, Nicole, you're under contract, you said? You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, there. No, not yet.
She's trying
I'm
to.
trying to get under contract.
You
Yeah,
will. You will. You're just trying so hard. You
he
will. I
is.
know you
I
will.
am.
That was one of the problems. So like the two biggest things that people, said that they were struggling with was not enough where to start, especially being overwhelmed with viewing 100 properties and then also having the lack of time in the day with everyone's, work and what the things that they have. And then the other thing was with Nicole sharing, she's made a lot of offers, but things that it seems like the really good ones are moving really fast. So if she waits till the following day to go look at it virtually or whatever, it's gone. So that's a little bit frustrating. But one exciting thing is everyone in the group realized where the available deals are in the school, application. So at least that's going to help now. I think that's it, unless if anyone else wants to chime in from.
Okay. Well,
I
so
do want to say something, if you don't mind. It's
Sure.
something that actually Mike and it was somebody had made a post about that they were going to do a finance one, like a seller financing themselves, the
Yeah.
30K. and then turn around. And I was like, oh my God, if I had thought of that before. So if cash was an issue for someone that has gone through everything, is having a hard time with a private lender, they could probably do that
Yeah. There were
with
at
the
least
seller, with the
two or
seller financing within the group.
yes, I've seen at least two deals in this last week that they were seller
Exactly.
financed.
Correct. But
So,
I didn't know. And then Mike was saying that there were more, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I think actually he beat me out to one, because once I saw someone post about it, I was like, oh, let me scroll and look.
why don't we talk about this issue of you finding deals and you making offers and you losing them? So let's talk about that.
Wait,
Tell
yes,
me,
because I did email him about it. I'm
well,
sorry.
so tell me these deals that you've been offering on there on the MLS.
Yes, I saw them on Zillow, and I contacted the whoever's on Zillow,
Yes,
and one
good.
of them had contacted a while ago, and he even remembered me, a young lad. Anyway, so he remembered me, so I emailed him because I literally got an alert on a notification that says new offer. So when I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, this house it had a brand new kitchen, okay,
Yeah.
brand
Uh-huh.
new kitchen, 24/9. I was like, oh my God, but you don't know when the picture is taken, you don't know if it's sold yet. So I immediately texted him or
Uh-huh.
called him, and it turned out to be the same person. And so I said, okay, I need to see this property. So I said, I'll make an appointment tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time I got home, I saw pending on it.
Okay.
I was like, God. And then he had no idea that
Oh,
he didn't know, because I realized it wasn't, even though that's who Zillow had listed, he wasn't the listing agent. So when he contacted the listing agent, it was already pending. And he made an appointment for me to go tomorrow. The next day, he was going to go and Zoom and show me the whole house.
Nicole, hold on. I think so let's talk about the listing. I think you may be not doing it right. Okay, so
You
let's
might
talk
be
about
right.
it. When you actually look at the Zillow listing,
Mm-hmm.
in the actual listing, if you just go below that, the listing is usually by the listing agent or by the listing broker's agent. Okay, if you're contacting them and they don't know it's under contract, I don't believe that. That's not possible because
I
the offers
I
have to go to them, right?
I think you're right. And I noticed it yesterday when because when you go into it says message, if you want information about
Yes,
this house,
that is
message.
random,
And I
people. You don't.
realized that is
Yeah, that
not the listing agent.
so now so that is a mistake, right? So now what you do is
Correct.
you only directly contact the it's either the listing agent or it's agent within the broker who has that listing. All right. Either
Mm-hmm.
way, that is the direct contact. So number one,
Mm-hmm.
if you speak to them, they will tell you right off the bat. So, like in this case, if you had spoken to the listing agent, they would tell you right off the bat, oh, we have 4 pending offers, we have 3 offers on it already. You'll know, okay, this is where we are. But let me tell you, besides this is how I do it, and my last property, literally how I got it, right? A good property, that's why Scott teaches. I love what Scott teaches. If you look at 100 properties, let's say, where was this property, this specific property?
It
What's
was
it?
in Decatur. It
Okay,
was
so
in
let's say
Decatur.
Decatur is, by the way, a very small market. So, meaning to say, when the homes come in after a while, you'll actually see a pattern very quickly because the market itself is very small. So, let's say after 100 properties, you'll have an idea that a 30 grand property should have at least these things, right? So, as soon as you find a property that is listed for 25 and it looks like a $30,000 property, well, guess what? You'll already know, okay, all I have to do is just verify some information, but I'm ready to place an offer. Now, that's a mental thing. Let me tell you the last property I bought. The property I bought, it was listed at 11 a.m. Central Time. I saw the listing at 11:15 a.m. Central Time. I called the agent at 11:20. I sent my offer at 11:35, something like that. Even then, she had already spoken to 4 other people between that time because it was such a great deal. But I was the first one who actually put in the offer for the full price. And why did I do the full price? Because I knew this was a deal at the asking price.
Yeah.
And by the evening, I had the contract, which means in some cases where it is really, really a good deal, Well, it is competitive, right? But the deals are there. I think I got it at 25. The property is worth easily 40 grand, easily, without any repairs or anything like that. So, listing agent, that is really what you're trying to do is you're trying to get hold of the right person. So now you know where to look for,
Yes. Now I
right?
know where to look
On
for.
the listing where that
At the
listing,
bottom, on the bottom left corner. Not where the contact find out more information,
yes, not
which is
there.
what I was doing, not there,
Yeah,
further down.
correct.
So, and I have someone, of course, it's not the listing agent because it was after when I realized that I had already questioned about some other properties in Flint.
Uh-huh.
And so I lined up with Boots on the Ground and her connected all of us so that hopefully tomorrow she will go. But you know what was good is that the agent um, said that they would go on video. They said I can go because even the first one's like I can go and we could do a Zoom and I can show you the place and everything. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It saves me boots on the ground money, but I wanted the boots on the ground because they know the area best. They could tell me whether or not it's a good buy or not for the area and whatnot.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Chantel, I know I think she was trying to say something.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sorry. No, Nicole, I was actually trying to ask you a question.
Oh,
What can you explain what you were talking about with when you said they were seller financing the 30,000? Like, how is that different from getting a private money lender for your?
it's like it's the same thing that we're doing.
Mhm.
Exact same thing, except we're the tenant buyer. So someone has a property that they're gonna sell for 30,000.
Which they
Oh,
own.
Us,
They own.
oh, I
they
understand.
own it.
I
So
thought
then
that someone in the group was doing
Yes,
that.
yes, yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes,
So
people
Oh,
so
in the
the so
group
the
are
best
doing it.
so the best thing with this is for like 2 grand, you can get into a deal, a
you get
slow
it.
flip,
Correct.
Oh,
right?
okay.
You just have to look at the deal though. You still have to look at the deal, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you
Uh,
still need to look at the deal, but yes. And then
let me
go
guys, let
ahead,
me share
Kelly.
something with you just so that you know. Okay, I mean, I know most of the wholesalers in our community, they're good people. I never, that's why, in fact, Major's still there, right? Last week, Major suggested, hey, we should just look at, in this call, I should actually talk about some of the wholesale deal. I said I would never do that because if I did, it's going to be big trouble. I saw one of the deals, honest, I'm not kidding, by one of the wholesalers. It had fire damage and it was being wholesaled. And I mean, I know people buy all sorts of properties, but fire damage properties are very hard to even repair, even paint. I mean, that smell, you cannot get rid of that smell. If there's fire damage, and plus you have to disclose, and then there's structurally, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different issues. And the thing was, it was so obvious. You looked at the picture, you could see the fire damage, and but it was not listed in the actual listing that the property had fire damage. So unfortunately, some newbies, they don't know better and they just put a contract and they find out afterwards, why it's not moving. It's because it has fire damage. So all I'm saying is do your own due diligence, and take your time. That 100 property thing is the best thing because this even fire damage thing, after you see 100 properties, you'll realize, well, what is that dark thing on the corner, right? And you'll say,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that in the 100 properties I saw, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
I
the
saw I saw one today that I was gonna have her look at, and then I noticed at the bottom left corner, I'm like, what's that little opening there? And it's because a
yeah,
two-story house. And then she sent me like the disclosures. When I asked her about the property, she sent me the disclosures, so I was able
yeah.
to look. They're all investor properties. They all have unknown, unknown, unknown checks. Because if for those of you new, well, for me it was new today too. They send a list when the realtor sent a picture of the home, information about the home, and it had like a list that said yes, no, and unknown. It had a bunch of questions like, is there back taxes, or if there's any issues with the house, any issues with structures or water damages or roof damage, all of these things, and they'll mark yes or unknown or no. And that same one, which was a great price, a little too great, I saw structural and flooring, and I was like, okay, we're gonna take this one out. We're not gonna look at this one. And then, so now I have these other two that hopefully tomorrow, work out. So,
Okay. Well, good luck,
mhm,
Nicole. Thank you for sharing.
thank you.
And I remember you from the very first call. You are already, it's been like few weeks and you're already here. So you're doing good. You'll be fine. Okay?
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Room 6, please. Who was in room 6?
That was
That
us.
was us. Yeah.
Hey, Mike and Heather, did we already do 6? Sorry. Okay.
We already did, but I didn't get a chance to share that I signed for my first slow flip today.
All right, here we go. What do you mean sign? I'd like to know what that term means. I'd like to know that
So
more.
they sent me the agreement and I signed it, and then Scott sent it. It's actually the deal that Major just posted. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath in Toledo.
So you bought it? Is that what you're saying?
It's seller finance, so they're
Oh, got it.
it's one of those deals exactly like what they're talking about.
Ah,
It was
wonderful.
for sale in the available deals with financing in place.
Would you like, to tell some people about the terms and so that we have idea about it? Can you explain?
Yeah, so sometimes in the available deals channel, the properties are listed. It's something I've noticed since January of 2025. Like Joey started listing them with financing in place, and then it's just been happening more and more often. So if you're struggling to find a private lender, it is a way to get into a slow flip. So
Yeah, Joey
So
does it a lot.
you want to tell us what terms? I mean, if you don't want to, it's okay. But we just are curious, like what down and how much do you think you can get for it? So because what we're trying to understand is how much are you out of pocket? Because I'm sure it's a great deal in that sense.
yeah, so it out of pocket, it's a 3K administration fee. That's what they had on it. I kind of thought of it as a funding fee, so that would come out of pocket. And then I pay closing costs, so probably like 5K, something like that would be what I'd come out of pocket.
Oh, 5,000 total. Okay, I thought like 5,000 closing costs. No, that's that doesn't sound right.
No, 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 like 1,500 or 2,000 for the closing
Okay.
costs is what I
Okay.
think. And
Okay.
then actually it's very cool because I was talking to Paul Mamani.
Uh-huh.
He was doing a showing yesterday with a German fellow that wants to get that slow flip and the other one for his daughters. He has 2 daughters, and so Paul said he's ready to sign the paperwork.
I
So
got it.
it could come like pretty much filled as
Okay.
well.
So it is in Toledo. Yeah. Okay, that's why you were saying that. That's why Major said that. Okay, cool. Well, congratulations. Good job there.
And it's
Our
classic slow flip numbers. So my payment to them is 667. Taxes are $70 a month. Insurance is like 45. So all in, it's like 782 or something like that, and should fill for like 895 something.
good. Very good. Very good. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Mike. Okay, last group 7, room 7. Who was in room 7?
Hi, this is Gina.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us in the room. I got on there a little late, but you asked me to share because what I was telling the group was that I myself joined just less than 6 months ago, and my husband Dennis is on this call as well, and my son Ruben. And our goal as a couple was to have 20 by the end of the year. And what I was telling the group is that just buy the first one, because when you buy that first, we funded our first one, our first few. When you buy that first deal and you follow it from start to close, you learn so much, and the fear is taken away. And one of the most important things I would say is use the fillers in the group. Don't try and do this yourself. Take advantage of them. Even our filler was kind enough to share the contract from the attorney for the state, which was Illinois, Decatur, and edited the contract for us and went to our needs. We didn't just get the contract from school. We had it reviewed ourselves, added some things, and it was filled within the first month. We were patient. We didn't say we wanted this filled in a week. We were very patient. So the takeaway I want to give you all is that just buy the first one the fastest you can, and follow it all the way through. I don't recommend buying 4 or 5 at one time and trying to do it quickly. Just follow the whole system. And Amir, I wanted to also share from hearing what people are saying about the funding in the deals that are offered through the community. I look at deals every day, probably morning, afternoon, and night. I'm constantly looking at all the feed of everybody's post, and the deals that I see with funding, sometimes they'll offer it with the funding, but it's not always the best house.
Yeah.
So you have to be cautious, because you might get excited if you don't have private money and they're like, oh, private money, I'll take this one. But then when you truly look at it, it's going to sit. There's no kitchen cabinets in it. It might feel fast by maybe a contractor, but you just be cautious. If you're a newbie, it's going to take a little time. And so, yeah, so I just want to encourage everybody that stay on the school community several times a day. Don't just treat it as like, oh, in the evening I'll check it. Like, no, you have to be on there constantly when you're a newbie and check it several times a day. You learn a lot, and then just be on these calls. I still consider us a newbies, even though we have, 5 properties. I'll continue to be on these calls because there's always something to learn.
Thank you, Gina. That was very helpful, and I appreciate your input and advice. I did notice
you.
what you said about. So here's the other thing. Think about it, guys. If somebody is seller financing a deal, there must be a reason for it. So look at the deal, look at the financing, because I've noticed the deals that are being seller financed, they're seller financed at not what they were bought for, obviously, right? So there's a spread there, right there, right? So they were bought for 18, 19 or something, and they're or 25, 20, something like that, and then they're financed at 30. Well, is the property really that has that value or equity in it? If it's not there, then you are paying that extra spread, so somebody's got to make money on that. So you just have to know what you're getting into. But you're right about that. At the end, what we're really looking for is a property that will move, as long as you can put a tenant buyer in it. But you're absolutely right. I'm actually looking at a lot of properties, and I'm finding a lot of properties in a lot of different areas. And the price point that is right, which I look for, is 2025, something around that. Is you're right. They look great from outside, and 1 or 2 rooms are really good, but then there's no kitchen. I mean, absolutely nothing, no cabinet, right? Or the bathroom is not there. So think of it in your tenant buyer's term. So even though it looks good on in some areas, some rooms, but if the kitchen is missing, I mean, they won't have. If they put $2,000 or $3,000 down, they don't have another 5,000 to build a full kitchen. They're not going to do that. So they're not going to move in. So in other words, you're really looking for an investor. Well, then that's a complicated thing. So if you're a newbie, buy something that is very close to being habitable or is habitable. So now the problem is this. There's only 3 ways. Number one, which I was talking to Nicole about, that you really have to learn to be quick, have your funding ready or access to funding ready. Be quick about your templates so that you can make a quick offer and move on it really quickly so you can get good deals. Otherwise, be prepared to pay a little bit more, which is 30, 35. I mean, I'm seeing on the MLS at 35 you can find pretty move properties that they're in condition where you can move somebody in right in many markets, right? But if you are trying to save money by saying no, I'll buy something at 20, well, guess what? Then you'll end up buying something that does require more work and you're taking more risk. So just do not take the first one. Maybe you can do that on the third, fourth, fifth, fine. But on the first one, you really want it as play it safe, as you can, right? My first property, which I do have a video about, is I took a calculated risk. It was a fantastic property, but it had a structural problem. But I saw that, look, considering what the condition is, considering how big the house is, I think I can take that risk. And it did sit because of that structural problem. It did not move fast enough. It took a month. But I knew going into that. So if you don't know what you're doing and you're buying something that does require a lot of work, well, then you may be in for a surprise. So you don't want that. All right. So we are done with the rooms. Thank you, everyone. We do have 2 questions. Michael, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Yeah, question I would ask the group is that there was a lot of discussion about, self-funding, and then that people had a certain amount of money, and then they were going to run out of money before not too soon. Why not consider, or why not? How Scott doesn't maybe preach the business to say, just pretend you have no money. I mean, put your money in the bank. You're going to run out eventually. So why not, try to use an infinite source for just private money, right? Any reason why everybody shouldn't try to maybe adopt that philosophy, Amir? What you're thinking on that?
So I didn't follow your question. Say that again.
Some people are trying to self-fund a first few deals, right?
Hmm?
Okay, but eventually you're going to run out of money. why not just teach this business as if you had no money and just do the whole business, which is find the private money or loans or DSCR loans and just do it take from that approach? Because yeah, we all have limited amounts of money, so why play that game? Let's go find where the money is, if you will, learn how to get that money, because once you do, you have endless amounts of it, and then you can just go out and buy all the houses you want.
Absolutely. I completely understand what you're saying. And the answer is, you ready for the answer? The answer is what happened to me. I did the same thing. I did first funded my first deal, and then for 6 months I had zero progress. I could not find a private money lender. I tried everything that's in our system. Our system does teach things that work for many people. It did not work for me. So I had to create my own system. So your answer is the question you're asking, the answer is it is hard. If it was easy, then yes, absolutely. Everybody would find a private money lender, but it's hard. Not everybody has the skill set to either be extremely social where they chat with anybody and everybody, right, to by mistake find a private money lender, or do it strategically, or have rich uncles and friends and all that. So it's hard, and that's
Yeah.
why the option is you wait until the option is, do you wait and just do the hard work, and it could take you a month, it could take you 2 months, it could take you a year. Well, by the end of the year, if you don't even buy anything and you're waiting to find your private money lender, well, one of the two things will happen. You'll just say that, okay, this business does not work, because that was your mindset, right? And you'll give up, right? The other thing is, at some point you'll realize that maybe I should just buy the first one, right? Which I think is a good, if you have the means. If you don't have the means, I'm not trying to suggest either. Also, that if you don't have the means, if you there's no way you can find access to personal funds, then yes, okay, then you don't have an option. Then that's what was my situation was. I had liquidated other things. I still had a real estate portfolio, so I only had about 30 grand. So I really didn't have any other money. So my back was against the wall. That's why I struggled, and then I figured out my own private money lender system. But I suffered because of that. So everybody will, go through that process. So the answer is it's hard. That's why Scott doesn't say that, no, this is the only way to do that. You should try everything. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Next, Dennis, go ahead.
Hey there.
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm driving, so I'm trying to turn my video on. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick shout out to, I don't know if he's still on the call, my son Ruben. Just as a little inspiration for some of the folks in the call today. Ruben's my Gina's son. He's 22. He's closing on his first slow flip this week, June 12th.
Very good.
And he just joined the group probably about a month or so ago. He'd been watching what we were doing. He was interested, so I told him, hey, read this book, get on the website, search, slowflip.com, do your own research. He did it. He was super excited about it, and he on his own he joined. He just recently joined, and I know he's been all in the group and doing stuff. So just to show you got a 22-year-old kid who's buying his first slow flip. I don't know if he's still on the call, but I just want to give a little shout out for him.
No, that's great. That's great. But see, Dennis, I mean, I see some white hair, and you can see my white hair. Unfortunately, when you're young, you're also like, hey, what can go wrong, right? Just go and do it, right? I'm kidding, but no. Congratulations. It's awesome.
And he even is buying with his first private money. So he had a friend who 30,000. So he's buying with private money. So I thought it was
Wow.
pretty good.
Great story. Yeah, maybe we can have him over next time. We can talk to him. I don't see him on right now, or at least I don't see the camera. Thanks for sharing, Dennis. Gina, go ahead.
I just wanted to share, after hearing everybody who are using the MLS and contacting agents, your biggest tool can be contacting them after the house sells, whether you get to buy it or not. Because what I did, and so we acquired the properties, I reached out to an agent on a property and befriended them and said, this is what I'm looking for, properties within this amount, with in this area. If you get something like this, can you please give me an opportunity? to make an offer. And with that done, every time this agent or his office gets something within my criteria, even if it's a little higher, sometimes they're 50, but you're going to offer less. And he'll reach out before it's listed. Hey, I'm getting this property. It's not posted yet. Would you be interested in it? And he'll send me the photos. So don't stop just because you didn't get the property within that range. Keep reaching out to some agents you can befriend and tell them what you're looking for and stay in contact with them, because they're going to have you first in mind when they get that type of property.
Excellent advice. Thank you very much. That was awesome. All right. So, Dennis, do you have another question? Your hand is still up. Oh, good. Okay. All right.
No, I just forgot to look.
No worries. Steven.
Hey, sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand on this thing, but anyway,
That's why you're on this call. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. There is either it's under React or there should be a separate icon for raise hand, but it's at the bottom, either under React or a raise hand.
I don't see it, but I'll figure it out another day. Anyway, Amir, in the beginning of the video, you were showing that you had some videos that we could go and watch, like how you got your first one and everything. Where is that at again?
So it's at that link. I'll share that again. Let me go back here. Can you see my screen?
All it says is Amir had started sharing.
Posted those links in the chat for you.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I think somehow it's not working. Yeah, it's in the chat, and then when you go to that link, the videos are listed all the way down from the very first video all the way up to the last video. So if you scroll down, you'll have the older videos. So my first slow flip is the name of the video, and I've done that with 4 or 5 people. So the first one I did was my own property, so you can watch that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Amir.
Sure.
And Major Tom, thank you too.
All right, Pablo. All right, okay. Pablo, go ahead.
Good evening. So, like I joined 2 weeks ago, and me and my daughter's been helping me out a lot, and I've been on Zillow looking. I'm open to anything I was sharing with my group anywhere, just about in the Midwest, but I've been focusing more on Ohio, like my main, and I looked at Toledo. I'm on the internet right now, and all these different states. So I went on the messaging app, on the messaging group, on the community, and it's so great. Like the community, people reach out to you, they answer questions. So I just been having a hard time finding in that bracket the 30 to under. So I continue to look, and I was open to maybe look into other states. I got a question also too. Is there a difference when you buy on tax deed auctions and auctions two different things?
Yeah, any kind of auction or deed sale, that's not going to be on the MLS. The MLS is just a platform they're using, and most likely, if it's an auction, it's going to be on a separate website. There'll be a separate process. You have to bid on it. There's a minimum, and I mean, people do specialize in this, and I would recommend that because number one, the timelines on that is in sometimes months. And then you're also bidding against other people. You might win a bid. People have won bids, but it's a whole process. Sometimes, depending on who's selling it, sometimes banks, sometimes they don't have pictures. They don't even give you access to the inside until the bid is accepted. So I don't really get into that. So I just hide those, auction and bidding and all those. I don't even look at those.
And there was another question I had. Oh God, please come back. I can't remember. Regarding. Oh yeah, no, I agree about. I think like after listening to everybody tonight, I think my best bet is to fund my first deal. I'm probably able to maybe do like 2 or 3 deals, because it's like you guys said, like, once you're excited about it, you have a few deals under your belt, you're gonna get a good on. Even if I take my own money, I'm gonna get a great rate on return, and I won't owe nothing on it. Now it's like, and like you said, it's like you have to do the first one, and you get the experience from doing the first one. So I'm kind of happy to be in this group, be in the group. It kind of really gave me a whole new motive, like to just look for that first deal, if it's through a wholesale if I find on the MLS through a realtor or wherever it is. But it really showed me like, and then I could go out there because I kind of see it's more like word to mouth for funding. Because I mean, unless I know I might have to call maybe DRCS. Maybe if I could get a DRCS loan or private money, guys. But like because I was thinking like, how am I gonna get money to fund deals? But I gotta have a track record. You know what I mean? If I don't have anything going on, I'm just telling people they're not gonna. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
So Pablo, that's a very important point, and I think we can probably 22 minutes over. We can end on this. So this last point that you just said, I told you about the private money lenders that are in our community, right?
Mhm.
So every one of those are also buying slow flips, right? So this exact point that you said. So if they look at you and you have bought self-funded your first slow flip, you are eligible to apply for a fund loan with them. But if you have the money and you haven't bought your first slow flip, well, guess what? You will be ineligible to them. So from their eyes, they're looking at someone who is put their skin in the game by saying, yes, I'm in it and I'm doing my first deal. So
Mhm.
from their side, as a lender, they're looking at someone that number one, he's serious. Number two, he now has experience. They're looking at you not just buying, they're looking at you all the way through the process to filling. So that with that, you now have an experience to understand the cycle. You will know the expectation when the rents come in, when the your payments are due, taxes and all that. You're making those payments. So all of these things are there for a reason. That's why this idea, if you have the means and you can do the first one yourself, the two best advices you can get for newbies. Number one, look at 100 properties in one market, not the entire like Ohio and no, one market. If you're looking at Toledo, look at 100 properties in Toledo. That's best advice that Scott has given. Second, if you have the means, self-fund your first deal. Because if you look at 100 properties and you're ready to self-fund your first deal, well, guess what? There's a very good chance that you will not make a mistake because you've looked at 100 properties. You're not going to buy a really, really bad property. The problem is some people are just jumping the gun. They're not doing the 100 deals and they're overpaying for the property and they're self-funding it, which is still okay. I mean, it's a people learn from mistakes as well. But that's good. No, I think your thinking is in the right place and yeah, good luck on that. All right, guys, it's been a while. Thank you so much. You've stuck around for all this time and hopefully this was enjoyable and educational. We'll see you all next week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.